All right. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Oh, wow. Y'all are alert. I thought y'all were still asleep. You're not still asleep, are you? You're not still asleep. All right. Welcome to session 11. We're going to have the career, trade, and entrepreneur panel, discussion panel. Quick housekeeping. Button. Amongst all of these wires. Please remember to mute and or turn off your cell phone during our session. Please turn on your listening ears so you don't miss anything. Feel free to raise your hand to ask questions while I or the panelists talk. If needed, the restrooms are located outside the room and down the hall to your left. And emergency exits are the stairs at the end of the hallway, so right behind us here, in the middle of the building, and all the way at the other end. There we go, my little monkeys. So, welcome everyone to the day, the deck. Career and Entrepreneur Spotlight presenters. So we have with us Mr. Keith Edwards of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. We have Carol Stalkey of the Water Bureau, as well as Angie Harris. I said Davis, I don't know why. You don't even have to ask. No. And then Ms. Kobe Lewis from Micro Enterprise Services of Oregon, or MISO. And then Ms. Dennis Harris from Vanport Remodeling and Construction LLC, that I forgot to put on there, sorry. And we'll do of course, our thank you card reminders, announcements, and then we'll have some time to work with your mentors on your presentation, because those are coming up very, 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 very soon. And then we will close out and have Q&A. And so what I'm going to do is introduce our panel. And so up first, we have Mr. Keith Edwards of the IBEW, Local Union 48. Who has fortunately retired, unlike some of us who still have to work for it. Keith has been married to Antoinette Edwards since March 6th of 1979. They have 3 sons and 2 daughters, James, Kajana, Ayana, Leroy Jr., or Jolly, and Khalil. And they also have an extended family of 5 godchildren, 21 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren. You go, sir. Keith was the second African American to be elected to the executive board of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, IBEW, Local Union 48 in 1989. He was the first African American to be appointed business representative in 1990. The executive board actually appointed him business manager and financial secretary in 2000, becoming the first African American business manager of his local union. In 2001, they liked him so much that they elected him as business manager and financial secretary, the first candidate to ever run unopposed for that position in his local union, and the first African American to be elected of a construction local union in the history of IBEW in the U.S. or Canada. In 2003, he was tapped by IP Edwin D. Hill to be international representative, so he got to travel a little something. Keith retired on November 1st, 2013. He is currently involved in volunteer endeavor. Was appointed by the executive committee of the EWMC in October 2014 to finish the unexpired term of Victor Uno. He was elected unanimously in 2016, 19, and 22, and has been a member of the IBEW for over 50 years. Edwards is a community activist and has been involved with the Coalition of Black Men, the Portland Workforce Alliance, and the NAACP, where he has served as president of the Portland chapter. He also served 8 years on the Oregon Electrical Board under Governor Barbara Roberts. So, Mr. Keith Edwards, raise your hand, sir.
Thank you very much.
And then after him, we have Ms. Carol Stalkey of the Portland Water Bureau, also mentor, Ms. Carol. Has a background in project management and program oversight. She serves as Portland Water Bureau's Safety Program Coordinator. She works with Bureau managers and staff to develop, implement, and manage programs around safety training, wellness, ergonomic safety, community outreach, and internships. Her administrative and technical management includes planning, coordination, facilitation, training, and education. Carol works exclusively with the Water Distribution Worker Training Recruitments and UDF Program Utility Worker 1. You'll have to explain what that means at some point.
I will.
Okay. She regularly attends workshops and job fairs citywide to promote the entry-level opportunities at the City of Portland and the Water Bureau. Every year, she's been able to increase her numbers in outreach efforts, reaching more of the underserved community. These efforts of networking in our outreach lead to a more equitable workplace that represents the multicultural society that we live in. Carol serves on citywide committees that are dedicated to creating an inclusive and supportive work environment. The diverse and empowered employees of Portland Beat and the Bureau's Equity Committee, working directly with the Office of Equity and Human Rights, OER, on promoting the sharing of information. Her expertise is consistently evaluating the programs with the goal of removing barriers and provide opportunities and access to a structured, well-designed, and well-implemented program. Mrs. Carol Saul. And also with the Portland Water Bureau, we have Miss Angie Harris. Miss Angie Harris is the wife of Dennis Harris. Started out as a front-end manager at Safeway on MLK, so right here in the neighborhood. After 8 years at Safeway in 1997, she accepted a position working at Portland City Hall in the office of Commissioner Eric Sten as the Commissioner's Community Outreach Liaison. She would be overseeing the internship programs and be coordinating City Hall gatherings. During that time, she served as the main contact on the Affirmative Action Committee and worked for Commissioner Sten until he decided to leave office. After which, Angie worked for Mayor Tom Potter, goodness gracious, for 8 months until his term ended. In 2008, Angie was offered a job with the Portland Water Bureau, PWB, where she wears many hats, working as a Senior Administrative Specialist, FMLA, as well as Public Outreach, Training, and Events Coordinator. She is currently working closely with the Bureau Director, managers, and supervisors to ensure the Maintenance and Construction Department is ran effectively. Angie represents the Bureau as the company's ambassador, going out to citywide job fairs, talking to high school students, and her new role, coordinating PWB's support of Good in the Hood. Angie was recently asked to serve on the Citywide Diversity Conference Planning Committee as one of the volunteer coordinators for the conference. She served as president for the Water Bureau's Equity Committee, in addition to being the vice president and founding member of Diverse and Empowered Employees of Portland, Oregon. Angie is on the executive committee for the National Forum for Black Public Administrator, NFEPA, Oregon chapter, serving as historian. In 2019, Angie had the honor of receiving the Spirit of Portland Award for Outstanding Individual and Organizational Leadership, nominated by the Portlanders and the Mayor and City Commissioners of City Hall. In 2022, Angie received the Hometown Heroes Award after being nominated by the Portland Trailblazers and Directors Board. Angie is known at her job and in the community for being a go-getter that likes to get things done. Angie's favorite quote is, "Hard work and making connections go a long way. Believing in yourself and knowing you can do anything as long as you put your heart and soul into it." Miss Angie Harris. Philly Lewis of Micro Enterprise Services of Oregon is the executive director of MISO. MISO brings a holistic array of services and programs to small businesses, including access to capital through loans and grants, real estate lending, business planning, market research, IDA, bookkeeping, classes, navigation, and mentoring. Prior to coming to MISO, he served as the Senior VP and Director of Community Reinvestment Act and Corporate Responsibility at Umpqua Bank. The organization was comprised of the following departments: community development, community partnerships and philanthropy, volunteerism, diversity, equity, and inclusion, as well as government relations. So he also served on the Umpqua Bank Charitable Foundation Board of Directors. Prior to joining Umpqua Bank, Kobe worked at Wells Fargo Bank, managing community development and CRA for the Oregon and Southwest Washington region. Too many college words, I'm sorry. He also previously served as the VP of Programs for One Economy Corporation, national technology and advocacy nonprofit based in Washington, D.C. Kobe currently serves on the board of directors for the Portland Housing Center, the Black Humanity Fund of Oregon, Pioneer Courthouse Square, and the audit committee for the Oregon Youth Authority, the National Association of Minority Contractors, and on the Leadership Council of the Albina Vision Trust. Just a few notable accomplishments include the Portland Business Journal's 40 Under 40, Women of Influence on the national list of most influential bankers. She is a proud mother of two and an alumna of the University of Oregon. Kobe Lewis. I'm gonna need to figure out how to do this. And last but certainly not least, Mr. Dennis Harris is Manport Remodeling and Construction LLC. Dennis, husband to Angela Harris, who was born in Boston and moved to Oregon in 1973. He has been in the construction field since 1990. He was superintendent for a variety of companies such as B&I General Contractor, Tom Walsh and Company, and City House Builders, where he supervised field workers and subcontractors on jobs all over Portland. Projects Dennis has worked on include New Columbia, building 50 single-family homes mixed with rental and home ownership, and as well as Parity Commons condominiums, building 9 townhomes for first-time home buyers. In 2010, Dennis was asked to be co-owner for Albina Construction, where he continued building more affordable housing for organizations such as PCRI. He built affordable townhomes on North Williams, across from the Salvation Army soccer field, and the second one on North Landina Townhomes, behind the Plaid Pantry on North Going Street. Dennis's company also worked with Portland Housing Bureau Home Repair program, where they rehabbed homes for low-income residents. He remodeled 9 homes for a program called Kenton Renew, and he took part in the Big 11 project, remodeling 11 single-family homes in North and Northeast Portland for a local nonprofit. During the pandemic, Dennis's work did not stop. He received tons of jobs, updating kitchens, finishing basements, and building ADU from existing garages. We had to turn jobs away, Dennis said, for the demand was crazy. In 2022, Dennis decided he wanted to start his own construction company, which he named Manport Remodeling and Construction LLC. As a business owner, he continues to build new affordable housing, also doing remodels and ADU. When deciding on a name, he said, I wanted to make sure it was a name that would stick and have a meaning. That is why I chose Manport, for it represented the neighborhood I grew up in. Dennis wanted to continue this legacy, and all 3 of his kids worked for him. He's proud to say his older son, Dominic, fell in love with construction, and he opened his own company, saying he learned from the best, his dad. Dennis always says, college is not for everyone, and there is options out there to make money. There's a lot of money to be made in construction field, so go out there, get an internship, and talk to folks. This is how I got started. Dennis loves the work that he does, and his decision to pursue construction was the best decision that he could make. And so, Mr. Dennis Harris. mainly high school juniors and seniors. We have a couple of sophomores. And our whole purpose and mission here at Bristol Success is to help students get to their future goals, whatever that may be, whether it's 4 years in college, a couple years at a community college, or going right to the workforce, or we do have a couple that are very interested in starting their own business. So I think this is an excellent panel to have everybody be able to contribute, because we have people that are in college and people that come directly into the workforce, and people that do entrepreneurship. So I will let Kobe, do you want to start?
So, like you said, my name is Kobe Lewis, native of Portland, very proud native of Portland. And I now am the CEO and Executive Director of an organization called MISO, Micro Enterprise Services of Oregon. And the whole intent of our organization is to help build and grow entrepreneurs. So you can come into our organization with a dream saying, you know, I like this, I make this, I've been selling this, what we consider sometimes somebody's side hustle, or you can come into our organization saying, I have 3 storefronts and I want to acquire a 4th. It's an array of small businesses we work with. We have 6 offices across the state, Clackamas County, Washington County, Vancouver, Portland, Beaverton, Southern Oregon, Gresham, and we have staff that's kind of spread between 2 different departments. The front side of our house are all our business coaches, and when you come in, you go through orientation, you kind of talk about what you want to do with your business, what you need. Then you're paired with a coach, and all of our coach mentors, most of them, 90% of them are small business owners, entrepreneurs themselves, because we feel like how can they tell you how to build a business if they've never done it? And so from that point, whatever you might need, branding, marketing, help with your finances, credit building, savings, information about storefront, I mean, it can be anything, forecasting for financials, I mean, it doesn't matter what it is, they help you move through that system. We also offer a series of classes taught by a wonderful Suzanne, his wife, and we have a youth program as well that introduces youth who are already entrepreneurs into more of a solid program, allowing you guys to get the same benefits that adult entrepreneurs would get, so that by the time you turn 18, you can get your business license and you'll be up and ready to go. And you'd be surprised how many youth entrepreneurs are out there. Kids are already making money, starting elementary school, like serious entrepreneurs. It's really cool. On the other side of our business, we're a lender. So my experience in the last 10 years of banking was pretty critical to come in and kind of build up the back end of our opportunity. So we have grants starting at $100 all the way up to $500,000. And if you can believe it, that's considered a micro lender for a small business. Most people that come to us are either the startup organizations that aren't comfortable going to a bank yet, or these are the folks that were not able to get a loan from a traditional bank for various reasons. Usually it's for credit or lack of collateral or a multitude of things, but those business coaches help them get what they need so that we can turn them back over to the traditional banks, because they have better rates, more products, just a better array of things to offer. But we are here to help small businesses in whatever way they need help. A small example of kind of this other small projects we do is we are the holder and the administrator for Preschool for All, and work with your wife quite a bit. And so what we're doing is we're building up childcare businesses. People who used to consider themselves watching kids, we are helping them turn that into a business so they can take part in the county's program to get money and get paid for each of those slots. So we have a whole division, 5 people focused directly on childcare. My team in Southern Oregon specifically is helping work with some of our Latino business owners that lost their homes and businesses in the fires in 2020 and 2021 that wiped out the entire cities of Talent and Phoenix. So that has been an adventure in working with SBA, working with the FEMA and others, trying to get them just in their homes and kids back in schools and get their businesses up and running again too. So there's a variation of things we do in that entrepreneurship space. But essentially the whole goal of us is to you walk in the door and you tell us what you want to do with your business and how you want to grow it, and then our organization will help you do that.
Awesome. And Keith.
Good morning. My background is in construction mainly. I became an apprentice years ago. I won't say how long ago. Most of you in this room weren't born when I became an apprentice. But I went to college for 2 terms. And I guess the main thing I would like to leave with you all is that, before I go into, a little bit about the electrical industry and the construction industry, is that I went to college, like I say, for 2 terms, and I dropped out. It's something I thought I wanted to do from the time I was in the 6th grade. I wanted to be an accountant. And so I took business admin at Portland State for 2 terms, but I had to take history of Western Civ, which I didn't think had anything to do with what I wanted to do. And I also had to take English Comp, which I always hated. I don't do I before E except after C. I do 1 and 1 and 2, real simple. And so I floundered around for about a year, and then I got into the apprenticeship program in the construction industry. And it's really been good for me. I believe that that's where God wanted me to be. I've met people around the world. I've been able to travel around the world. I've met people all over this country, and I have great relationships with folks all across the country. I can go to pretty much any major city, and I can find a bed. But I say that also to say that there's a fact that a lot of folks aren't aware of, and that fact is that only 28 to 30% of our children in this country, our youth in this country, that graduate from high school, graduate from college 10 years later. 30%. So what about the other 70 to 72%? What are they doing? They sometimes find an alternative, but that doesn't mean that they're a failure. They can be successful in other industries that require a college aptitude, but don't require college. College ends up with a huge amount of debt, typically, unless you go to community college for a couple of years and then go to college to get your degree. But I just wanted to share that with you so that you have a clear understanding, because too often our young people think that they want to go to college because we've told them that the only reason they're going to school is to go to college. And they've thought about it and they said, well, I guess that's what I should be doing, is going to college. I'm not here to discourage you, but I'm here to make sure that you understand that whatever endeavor you choose, make sure that you have a college aptitude to get there. You cannot go into the construction trade and be an electrician or a plumber or a carpenter or a sheet metal worker and not have a college aptitude. Those days are gone. If you don't have that college aptitude, like I said, you will not be successful. The beauty of those trades, I'm a union member. I've been a union member since 1970. And so I have health care since I was 20 years old. That doesn't seem like a lot, but I've come to realize that that is huge. That's equivalent to about $15,000 a year in today's world. I also have an excellent pension, and I earned that pension over the years. And I also had a collective bargaining agreement, which probably doesn't resonate with most of you, but a collective bargaining agreement means that you have an agreement with your employer that says these are the conditions that you work under. And it helps provide safety in the workplace, and it helps you have a voice in your workplace as well. So I just wanted to share that with you. Like I say, I'm a union electrician. I'm retired. All I have to do is keep breathing. And I have a 6-figure retirement, and that's because I've been union all my life.
Everybody's like, what?
Yeah, all I gotta do is wake up every morning.
Wow.
And I'm good. And I have health care as well.
Wow.
And so that you know, I'm just trying to share with you that there's other alternatives that you may have that you can explore. Don't get stuck and go to college and figure that, hey, I'm stuck here, this is the only thing I can do. You have a mind, you have intelligence, you can do anything you want to do and be successful at it. Just always know that. Don't let anyone tell you different, because you can achieve and you will achieve. You have a great support network. You have this program, you have your parents, you have peer groups as well that can support you and help you do whatever you choose to do and be successful at it. So I just wanted to share that with you.
Hi, I'm Carol Stelke with the Portland Water Bureau. I've been there 29 plus years.
She's ready.
Yeah. So really my goal is to educate the youth. Angie and I do the high school tours together, and I want everybody to know of all of the awesome opportunities that are ahead of you, and that you can make real money without having to go to college. You can get into the trades, into the union programs. At the Water Bureau, we have 2 entry-level positions that were mentioned in my bio. That the utility worker 1 is still, in the UDF program, it's unidirectional flushing. In my big PowerPoint, I have a picture of a pipe, a regular pipe, but there's like barnacles and buildup, and so there's only this much room in the pipe actually. So unidirectional flushing shuts down sections of town, shut off the valves, and then turn on the hydrants. And it scours the mains so that we're not drinking that. You know, anytime you get a tea-colored glass of water, you call the Water Bureau. What's going on? And then we'll tell you the leaves are falling in the watershed and it's okay to drink. But if it's like chocolate milk, you don't want to drink it and you're gonna continue to call. So that's what UDF stands for, is that unidirectional flushing. We used to flush sections of town and then noticed it didn't make a difference. So I represent, when we go on our outreach tours, we have that flyer. I forgot my flyers today, but you know, I'll bring them with me next time. The other one we advertise for is Utility Worker 2 Apprenticeship Program. And now that's been renamed to Water Distribution Worker Trainee. It's an entry-level position that starts out right now at $23.70 and tops out at $32. That's a 2-year program, and you get wage increases every 6 months. Our wage increases range between 2 and 5%. It's a union represented position as well, and so they negotiate your increase and in the collective bargaining agreement, which is negotiated every 4 years. The one thing in this program, it's a 2-year program, you rotate every 3 months through every section of the city. So you learn what type of soil we have here, what type of soil we have in the outer southeast. In construction, you'll learn everything about what we have underground. All of our work is underground, except for the water pipes are. I also have an outreach email that I include everyone. Anyone that wants to get information, as our entry-level positions open, then I send you an email and let you know. If you want to be included on my email, I'll pass around a little sign-up sheet when we're done here today.
And Ms. Angie?
All right, and it's me, Ms. Angie. So with the water distribution program, I end up getting the role of being the person that you will see during that program to be able to come to me to make sure that your licenses are in compliance, and making sure you go through testing, making sure you come to me when you want to learn, you want to sign up for training for that, because with that program, with being a part of the water distribution trainee, you have to get licensed. And so normally employees will come to me and they'll ask for study material to help them, and this will help them out in the field as well. My job, of course, is to make sure the Water Bureau is in compliance through BOLI. Make sure that we have proper license and documentations posted up in the Water Bureau. I'm also involved in a lot of committees. I go to a lot of meetings, a lot of the time, dealing with DEEP. DEEP is Diversity Empowered Employees of Portland, and with DEEP, we are for the city employees. And so we have over 11 affinity groups that are part of DEEP. And so employees have the option to be able to choose that. I mean, you need to have a place where you can be known, be heard, and be seen, right? A place you can go and actually express your expressions and be able to, I mean, that's the only way to enjoy life and enjoy work, you know. People always come to me for questions about everything. pertaining to the city and, you know, how to navigate, especially because once you get into our, working for the Water Bureau or get into the city period, you are able to, look for other jobs elsewhere. The best thing to do is get into the job, get into the position, get into the city first. And then you can be able to outskirts go anywhere else. A lot of people in the Water Bureau end up working for us for a little bit. They'll go on to the, operations group. They'll go on to working downtown or working at other organizations. You learn a lot in our bureau. Training is free. You get your CDL license, which is free. You know how much it costs to get a CDL if you do it on your own. They pay for everything, and they also pay for schooling too. We have people that are in the office field who can be able to go to PSU and take some of their 6-week courses, and I think we have one online right now that I saw. That is a plus too. We have CSA positions at the Water Bureau as well, so if people just want to get a feel of the city. We offer a certain amount of hours, is it 1,900 hours or so, being a CSA?
Oh, I'm not sure.
But you can come in and start in at a low wage, just probably start at about $18 an hour, and you can come in the office and actually learn what they do in the office, and that's a good way to start too. One of the things I want to really encourage you guys all is do internships, network. Because when I used to be in charge of the internship program for Eric Stin, I used to go out to the schools and talk to kids about networking, because that's a good way to get your foot in any door and anywhere. Because if you decide to apply for a position, and for instance, Carol's sitting on that panel, and you've been talking to Carol for a couple of years now, and Carol remembers you, she'll say, oh, yes, I remember that person. And you know, and you can get your foot ahead of the game. A lot of times when people apply, like at the city, for instance, in our water distribution training program, 125 people applied, and our bureau interviewed every single last one of them. So everybody that applied, we interviewed every single last person. It's about a 15-minute interview process, and they interviewed every single last. It took about 4 days to do. Yeah, and then when we hire at least 10 at a time. So just remember, you can start out at 18 years old in our department, and if you're interested, please make sure you sign up with Carol so we can put you guys on the list and let you know when those positions come available. I know college is not for everyone. I did go to college too. I went to college for like 2 years, and then once I got into the city, I went to college again, was able to go to Portland State, and they was able to pay for part of my college there. And you constantly can get your stuff paid for throughout the city. Any kind of training you want, Excel, if you want to do some project management courses, they will pay for it, at least in our bureau they will. So just remember, you know, you can always think about, really think hard. And even if you do go to college, think hard coming to city. We got good benefits, good PERS packages, and it's a good way of life.
And Mr. Dennis.
One of the reasons I got into construction was I like building stuff. And when I got the opportunity to do a lot of nonprofit work, a lot of the stuff I do is for people who look like me. I would say 90% of the stuff I do is for people who look like me, which is very important to me. You know, I do most of my work in North and Northeast Portland. You know, I probably work for some of your parents or grandparents. And construction, you know, people used to think, oh, you know, you don't have to go to college. But construction is so varied. You can become an architect, an engineer, that's still construction, or you can build stuff like me. You know, it's so many different opportunities. You can get a 2-year degree, you can get no degree, but there are always classes. You know, I take 4 to 5 classes every year. It's an evolving thing. Every year there's something new, and just to keep up, you gotta take classes. So we, you know, construction used to be, oh, they're not educated. We're very educated, you know. You know, this building wouldn't be here if you guys didn't have us to do this for you. And I encourage you to look at every aspect of construction because there are so many great opportunities for young people like you.
Awesome, thank you. All right, so at this point, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and open up the discussion for people asking questions about the trades and what they want to know. So I'll give students an opportunity to ask a question first.
What keeps you guys motivated to like keep doing this stuff?
person, or you wanna do that?
All of them.
All of them?
I like indoor plumbing. I like a roof over my head, you know? I'm not doing this for fun, you know? I like the lifestyle we live, you know? Me and my wife, we take at least 2 vacations every year, you know? I got my passport and I use it.
I personally like the money. Besides the people I deal with and work with, you know, I make sure I put myself around a lot of people that people in my job is cool. We love each other so much, and we're like a big family, and nobody's going anywhere because of the money. So the money is very great there, and then I like to be able to do things that I want to do. Like I'm part of the diversity conference, I can be able to go to other jurisdictions and actually help them out and work with them. So I enjoy helping people too. So that makes me passionate and happy. Where am I going next month? Oh. So part of my job, my boss pays for me to be a part of an organization called NFPPA, which you guys saw, National Forum for Black Public Administration. I used to be the vice president of the organization for over 9 years. And so in April, we are going to Paisley Palace, where we're gonna have a event there. So we're actually gonna, Prince's house. So I'm excited about that.
Where you at?
All right, yes. Yeah. So I am very excited about that, yes. But it'll let you know, see, my job paid for me to go. So, you know, being a part of something good and your company that loves what I do is great.
We went to Disney World too.
Yeah, and I got a chance to go to my boss is he's not happy about that one though.
It was for work.
He didn't realize, it was for work.
Nice.
My main motivation was variety. There's a large variety of work just in the electrical field alone. Every time I worked on a job, I knew that I was going to be working myself out of a job. This building, when it started, it was just a piece of dirt here. And a year or 2 later, you have a building. And I'm gone. I'm on to the next one. And so there's a large variety, and that intrigued me because I was able to learn more about the city. I grew up here in Northeast Portland, but I've worked in every section of the city. I've worked in different areas around the country. And the benefit of that is that when I worked in Tacoma, I knew what my wages were going to be. There's no place. I've worked in Tacoma, I worked here in the Portland area, I've worked in New York, and I've worked in New Jersey. And everywhere I've worked, I make the highest wages of my occupation because I'm union. So if I was working today and I went to San Francisco, which is the highest wage in the country for electricians, I'd be making $90 an hour. And there'd be no ifs, ands, or buts. When I go to work, I've got my journeyman ticket in my pocket that says I'm qualified. I make $90 an hour plus the fringe benefits, which are health care and pension as well. That was the biggest motivation for me. Like I said, knowing that I could travel and go anywhere in this country or in Canada and be able to make the highest wage of my occupation without any questions being asked. Also being able to go places and meet people. And also, if I was a younger person, being able just to travel around the country and say go to ATL and go to work, or go to Toronto and go to work, go to New York and go to work, go to Miami, go to anywhere in this country that there's a union, which most of the cities have unions in them that are electrical unions in them, and be able to go to work and know what my wages and benefits were, and know what my work conditions were as well. And that was most important to me. Because being a black man in this country, I haven't always been treated equal. But I know in my union, I've always been treated equal. And I've demanded that because I've paid my dues.
I think for me, mine is a little bit different. Mine's my kids and my family, because I really wanted my kids to have the same opportunities, that we've had, and the economy's different now, so as myself and my ex-husband are very involved together. We partner and we raise our kids together. purposely so that we can help them acquire a home, you know? Because when my parents bought our house, it was $30,000. That's not even a decent down payment now, you know, so I'm thinking about, we think about, you know, how do we provide these opportunities for them to be able to grow and them to own a piece of property and them to either go to college or not. I have one child that got a full ride scholarship and he's in school. I have another child that's working full time and graduated high school early and she has her own child. I have my first grandson. And we just want to make sure that we can help them get to where they need to go so they can have what they want to have in life, so we can build something generational, you know, for our family. So that's my primary motivation, is to make sure that my family's good. Second is that I want to do something for our community. And I've worked in the banking industry for a long time. It's an industry that typically is noted to not be for communities of color. And what I happened to do was good, because what I did is I gave away their money. And I work with all the nonprofits that are working in communities of color or lower income communities. That was my whole job at the bank. I've never been an actual banker. But you know, the decision to go back to nonprofit, what I'm doing now, I used to like focus on a number of different things: small business ownership and first-time home ownership and workforce and economic development and all these things. I just wanted to focus in one area and grow it. And during the pandemic, you know, a number of things happened, from just the racial injustice, the social justice, all the stuff that was happening here in Portland that made national news. And I got this job offer, and at first I was gonna say no, because, you know, I was running around spending the bank's money in communities that I cared about. And it was an easy job. Again, and I had things like fantastic benefits, great 401k, you know, great salary and everything else. But it wasn't until one of the higher ups, honestly, the president of the bank, told me that he didn't think racism was a real thing. And that he had asked around, wasn't sure why we were doing all this DEI work. He just wasn't clear as to why we cared so much. And the day he said that, I said, and you talked about whether I sleep or not. I do a lot of work, and I work really hard. And so I decided that my motivation was, if I'm gonna put this much work into somebody, it's gonna be our community. And I left the bank. I literally gave my notice that same day, because I'm like, that's all you had to say to me, was that you didn't care about who we were. And I'm putting all these hours and all this time into, you know, helping grow your business. Again, to turn around and give it to the community, but still. Yeah, I gave my notice that day, and I gave my notice in October. I started the next job in April, and now our sole focus of our organization is to help women and minority-owned small businesses, period. And I grew up in Northeast Portland, went to school with this gentleman back here. And I mean, I was like, I'm even looking at you kids, like I know your parents. It's the craziest thing. I've watched some of y'all grow up, like you probably know my kids as well. My son Miles, he plays football right now, so I know some of y'all played with him and know him. My daughter Nina, she's the one that just had a baby. But that's why I do this. I mean, Portland is different now. This is not the same community we grew up in, and I feel like it's our responsibility and me to follow in, you know, in his footsteps. Absolutely right. We're trying to build up what we have to leave for you all, you know, and it's more of a challenge today. So that's absolutely my motivation. It's why I continue to work so hard. I do rest. I promise. But when I go home, you can't get me back out the house. That's
well.
But you know, that's my motivation, my long version.
And my motivation is the variety. I am blessed to have a position like this where our higher ups have allowed me to go. But I've worked for the city long enough to see where the gaps are and where we are failing and where we need to do better. And them allowing us to start a high school tour. I think eventually, probably not very long from now, we should go to middle schools. But the variety for me is key. In our entry-level positions, I hear the guys and girls talk about all the time they love working in construction. They're not stuck in the same place every day. They do their job and they move on, and they love that variety. The one thing from working odd jobs before I landed a great city job, I learned about sales. And one of the hottest tips was, you're gonna have to talk to 20 people before you get that one sale. And people need to hear things between 3 and 11 times before it starts to sink in. So that's my goal. I like when I'm on tour, when we're talking to high schoolers, I like to watch the 20 happen. I can look at a group of 20 and see some are like, oh, and some are just like wide-eyed looking right at me, and I can make that much, and I can make that much, and how much is that in a year, and how old am I gonna be when I retire? We don't, like, you start at 18, you retire at 38, you're
Yeah.
done. So that's my motivation, is to see that, that's my variety, and the ones that fall asleep, I bug them before they leave. And the one time,
Yeah.
and the one time Angie and I had a handshake class, cause we had a whole
Yeah.
class that nobody wanted to listen to us. So we just said, who knows how to shake hands? So we walked around and shook hands.
And that woke him up.
My dad was a construction worker, concrete worker, and he taught me how to shake hands, just to go to that part of the hand and give a good squeeze. So we went around the room and shook hands. So if you guys wanna do a quick little shake hands. Not that you're falling asleep or anything, but
Might have to shake a couple of hands.
yes.
Good question. All right, yes?
The question for, this company is, on average, like your program, like how far along are the businesses that you have started to work with and end up being successful?
So we just started our youth program about a year ago. But we partnered with other organizations to try to find the youth that have actually already started businesses. Because the one thing we wanted to do was not duplicate other programs that are working with kids in entrepreneurship. We wanted to find the students that were already in a business or actually wanted to start a viable business, not just learn about it in the mock space. Because usually when you guys learn about it, it's like, what if you did own a business? If you could, what would you do? These are kids that are out here, I mean, doing everything. Yard work, lashes, hair, making planter boxes, detailing parts. I mean, clothing brands. And they're online. You guys have this online platform that allows you to make money from the comforts of your own home, right? And they are pulling money in. So the kids are advanced. They go from, we have a third grader, okay, all the way up through age 24. And then we also partner with trade programs, right? So POIC has a new food program for young adults, where you go through and you learn every aspect of the food business. You get your food handlers, you're learning, kitchen services, different things. It is located at the Rockwood Market Halls, where their home base is. Halfway through that program, they switch to our program for the ones who want to be caterers, have a food cart, own their own business, build a restaurant. So they're building the business side of their work on the back end. We also partnered with, you guys know Champions Barbershop. Champions Barbershop, Jamal, opened a barber college, which is the first black barber college in the state of Oregon, which is super awesome. But halfway through that program, his barber students will switch to our program as well. They'll be doing them both for the ones that want to own their own barber shop, that want to be traveling barbers, that want to do these things. So you can be at any level to be in the program. You can even come into the youth program and say, I'm interested in doing this. I have this idea, or I've been making this or been doing this. I want to turn this into something. So technically, you can't get a business license with the state of Oregon until you're 18. That's your EIN. But you can still do smaller things and still continue to make money. Where it becomes a little bit tricky is if you're making a food product, because you really need a food license to get all that to really be legitimate with the city and the county and the handlers and all, the health department, things like that. But there are still things you can do. So basically at any level, you can come into the program. Right now, we're in Kairos Elementary, we'll be at Beaumont, we'll be at Ockley Green, we are at Jefferson High School, we will be at McDaniels next year. And then we have a summer camp and we're doing a spring break camp. And you can also kind of just get in where you fit in. We're gonna do different cohorts of students going through the actual just entrepreneurship training. But if you're interested, I will leave my contact information, they've got it, and just let me know and we can help you. Absolutely.
This is for everyone, but at what point in college did you realize college was not for me?
Even those of us that graduated?
Or the
Maybe it's the ones that started.
like that started 2 years and then just took a break or anything.
Two terms for me. Like I said, I didn't know what history of Westernship had to do with accounting. And certainly, like I say, I never liked English, and I'm good at grammatical stuff and all that, probably because I just hated it. But like I say, I'm a numbers guy. 1 and 1 is always going to be 2. 0 and 0 is always going to be 0. And that's just how my mind works and how I think about things. And like I say, those two things, after 2 terms, I said, I'm out of here.
And I will say, I'll back him up, after 2 terms, I had a full scholarship. So that's, I mean, that's not why I went, it was expected, like, in my family, it wasn't, it just comes after high school, it was not even, you know. But you get there, and exactly what he said, the first couple terms, even maybe your first couple years, are prerequisites that you in your heart feel like have nothing to do with what you wanna do moving forward. And that's where a lot of people get lost, because you just, it's not something you wanna do. You're forced to take these particular classes, and a lot of people lose interest. I changed my major multiple times, because I was just like, this is ridiculous, you know, why am I doing this? But mine was paid for. So had I had my parents paying, or I was coming out of my own pocket, I might have made a different decision and left, because it just didn't make any sense to me why I was taking something. Now, when you get to your junior and senior year, most of your focus is in your major. Not saying you won't have some major classes up front, but that's when you really deep dive and you really get to do some more things that you really like to do and want to do. But you do have to get to those couple years of just what they consider your prereqs, and that is where a lot of people get lost.
That's why I think it's very important, especially you guys that go to Jefferson. You guys
Yeah.
got that
Oh,
pre-college
absolutely.
program. Take
Absolutely.
advantage of getting those classes, taking those, you know, those advanced classes. So
Yeah.
you guys getting it paid for free. And if people went through that program and did it for the 2 years that you guys are there, you can have your associate's degree.
Yeah.
That part will be done, and you're going into college ahead of the game.
Yeah.
And then, like Kobe said, you can be able to figure out what you want to do and then start doing that.
Absolutely.
But that's very important to take. With me, I had to make a decision. I got pregnant at an early age. We had our first kid when I was 18 years old. She's laughing. The boy across the street. And so I just had to make that decision. So I decided to go to work full-time when I went to Safeway and work my way up and be a front-end manager there. And then had the opportunity to go to City Hall. One of the things when I tell you about volunteering is I volunteered on Eric Stem's campaign. And so doing that got my foot in the door, besides him, because he's best friends with Eric, getting me ahead of the, you know, getting my foot in the door in City Hall. That's why I ended up doing what I did. But like I said, once you get your foot in the door, you can be able to do other things, and you can be able to they'll pay for your school. You know, back then, they paid for school, your schooling. So, you know, if you want to learn more, you know, learn about business, learn about politics, we'll pay for it. And so that's what they did. So that's how I ended up going and not doing what I did in college.
And that's a very good question, and I hope what you're hearing here, you know, from Kobe and Angie and everyone else up here, is that nothing is written in stone, you know. You have to find your own path, and it may not be a path that you're on right now. Your path may be divergent. It may go east, it may go west, it may go north, it may go south. But don't be discouraged by that. Be successful in whatever you choose to do. Just be the best at what you want to do.
Anybody else want to answer the question?
I'll just say I did some college and I finished a program, paralegal, and decided I wanted to be an attorney. But really, I wanted to make money. It was costing too much money and taking up too much time when I could have been making more money. And that's why I switched. And then that's what I ended up doing.
My college experience was a little different. I was asked to leave. I went to UAPB, Pine Bluff, Arkansas. It was a culture shock, to say the least. So, you know, they asked me to leave. I said, okay, I understood why. And then I got back here. I was just kind of bumped around, and the guy asked me, hey, you want to do a construction job? I'm like, oh, not really. And this was 1989. He goes, well, you know, they start at $18 an hour. Sign me up. So after that, you know, I just kind of fell in love with it, and it's just been a great career. It's helped us raise our 3 kids now. And, you know, my son's in the business. My 2 youngest ones are actually down at the Water Bureau with their mother.
And Carol.
And Carol. And so, yeah, it's just so many different opportunities in construction. Just be successful at whatever you choose. You know, if you're gonna be a dog walker, be the best damn dog walker. Just do your best at whatever you're gonna do.
Question back?
I was gonna ask Dennis that question, but he answered it before I did.
Oh.
How he got started, how you got started in the construction industry.
Yes, it was just a great opportunity, and it was probably the worst time to start too. It was right before, winter started, and you know where 23rd and Burnside is, it's a big apartment complex up top. That's the first thing I did. And it was muddy.
Did you have any mentors like that brought you to where you're at?
I did. My mother and my aunt were, some of the first black drywall hangers in the state of Oregon. This was back in the early 70s, and you know, I just used to go, they worked on Jansen Beach when it was still actually a mall, so I got to see their work. And that's the thing about construction, is you get to see a finished product, you know. We'll be driving down the street when my kids like, oh, I remember when you built that, or when you remodeled that, you know, it's just an instant gratification. It's a great feeling, especially when you're at like Good in the Hood or something, somebody comes up to you and says, oh, thank you for working with my grandmother to help her get her house figured out, you know. It's really a good feeling, you know, when you can see an end result.
Anybody else have any mentor questions?
Oh, the mentor question?
Oh, I didn't know that question today.
Yeah, I think.
My mother, yeah, my mother.
I feel like I've had a ton along the way. Like I said, I grew up here, so, and my parents were pretty dynamic. My mother was an entrepreneur too. My father was fairly involved, so I grew up and got to see some of what Black Portland had to offer as far as success went. You know, I happened to be really close to some of that, so I consider those folks mentors. And I think like kind of like Dennis, I take a little bit from everybody. Like I took some from my mom, some from my sister, some from bosses I met. You know, I even had what I consider anti-mentors, people I knew I did not want to be like. But I think that's no, it's really important though. It's really important, especially if you go into management. You have good managers and you have bad ones. And you know, you get to a point where you knew what you didn't like and what you didn't appreciate, and you knew kind of where you wanted to refocus as to not be like that. But yeah, I feel like I pull from every, I don't know if I have an official one, but I pull pieces that I like.
And you know who's been a great mentor just to everybody that he's touched is Paul Knowles.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Paul has always been encouraging to everybody, you know. If you live your life like Paul, you'll be all right.
He's everywhere.
Mentoring too, doesn't have to be like Kobe said, it's not necessarily a formal relationship. You can learn from folks, and even though they may not be in a formal mentoring relationship, it's someone that you see often and you want to emulate what they're doing, so you learn from them. Mentors learn from mentees as well. So I've learned a lot from folks that in fact, I've had folks come say, well, you're my mentor, and I'm like, really? But people are watching you, and they look and see what you're doing, and they see some of the successes that you've had, so they want to be like that, and they want to do those things. And oftentimes, you don't know when they're watching you. You may have young people that are watching you today, and they want to be like you. So remember that you're a role model for them, even though you're young. You're a role model for the 7, 8, 9, and 10-year-olds that are looking at you and saying, hey, I want to do what you're doing. I want to be successful like you. And so we have to always remember that we have a responsibility. And I have a big thing about Americans. You know, we always talk about the freedoms that we have, and freedoms are supposed to be up here. Well, if freedoms are here, responsibilities are up here. Because if you have a right to do something, you have a responsibility to make sure that that right doesn't impose on someone else. And I think that's something that we often lose and miss out on. But just always remember that you have that responsibility. And being who you are comes with a lot of responsibility. Like I say, your younger siblings and folks that in your community that you come in contact with are looking at you. And they're saying, hey, I want to be like him, I want to be like her. And you may not think about that, but it's important because it's going to impact their life in a positive way, hopefully.
I got one last person.
we have quite a bit. We have a Filipino, we have City African American Network, they have City Mamas, PDX group, faith-based groups, and these are all in the city. So, you know, it's a variety of them, and they do a lot of good things too. They do, you know, workshops, different kind of workshops. The Affinity Group can, and what we do is we put on the Kwanzaa event every year, which is huge. We put on one this year at the Charles Jordan Center. We do it every December, so you guys remember that. We have good food, good food there. We anticipated over 200 people, ended up being 300, wall-to-wall standing room only. So now we got a little bigger location, maybe we put convention center next time or something.
Convention Kwanzaa.
Yeah, so that's something that we started and being a part of that. So that's when I say with employees, you know, employees need that affinity group. I mean, like I said, they need a place where they can actually sit around and talk and network and do different things. One thing about the affinity group here.
Yeah, I would say, our affinity groups just recently changed names. We got an ordinance passed by council to acknowledge the affinity groups years ago, but now we've changed the name to ERGs, the employee resource groups, and they really do make a difference. We've also got to start one of the newest ones is a multicultural group where people have multicultural families and parents. And initially, it wasn't going to be accepted until
we had to fight it.
We had to fight. And it was a kooky time, but we got it through. And then since then, the Disability Employee Resource Group has happened. And everybody gets a stipend, like $1,000 a year, and so they get to have lunch brought in when they have lunchtime meetings. They get to have dinner meetings, they have events, they decide what they want to have for their event. It's like a Romanian, Russian group. They have one big, like their version of Kwanzaa. They do that every year and spend their budget on that one party. And all the employee resource groups, affinity groups, we're all invited to everybody else's event. And so we learn about all the other cultures. It's really fun.
So that's all part of D.
Yes, that's part of D, yeah, and that's through the city, so, yeah, city employees can join any affinity group.
They have affinity groups too in corporate environments, so all the banks, like Nike has them, I mean, because you'll see them, you can usually, if it's a larger employer, be able to find different affinity groups. But you have to ask, ERGs is what they call them.
What is it
I'm trying to remember what I was gonna talk about. You gave us such good information, but, one of the things that Kobe talked about earlier in mentorship, how sometimes you'll start working with people that are mentoring, whether it's a formal setup or not, and you'll start realizing this is not the best one for me, you know, or nah, whatever you're talking about, this is exactly what I don't want to do.
Yeah.
And sometimes the negative side of it is a big motivator. So always pay attention to, no matter what you get from people, because you can learn something. Everybody has a different view. But don't shut down someone because it doesn't agree with you initially, because you might learn something from it, even if it is that you just learned that this is not what I want to do.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so don't back away from that all the time. Take the opportunity to learn from as many places as you possibly can. Be open to this, because you guys are smart enough to be able to analyze the information that you get.
Have you ever faced any like discouragement where you're about to like move on to the next thing? Like, how did you know to like stay with what you're doing?
I used to constantly face, and you do constantly face, of being Black, and I'm the only Black female in my area in the office field. Carol knows that, and I've been preaching hard about bringing more in, but, you know, when I used to work at City Hall, I was the only Black female there, going to meetings with my boss, you know, when gentrification happened. And if you watch that North by Northeast, you might see a glimpse of me sitting in the audience, or sitting on a panel, the table, when they're talking about this is getting ready to happen. You know, this neighborhood's getting ready to change and everything's about to happen soon. And I didn't realize how fast it happened until we live in the Mississippi area, and I watched it just evolve around me. It's like you close your eyes and you open up, and it's like we got these high rises now and buildings and all that kind of stuff. And being at work, you know, you're always in competition with other people. You know, you're always trying to work, we have to work even harder than the next person. You know, I have a good ally right here, it's Carol. You know, me and her have been friends since when I used to work at City Hall, when she used to be president of the union. And she used to come in there all the time, and me and her connected right away. You know, just having that person you can reach out to, because it's not easy. It's not easy. You're gonna watch people get promoted over you. You know, no matter what you do or what you say, you'll watch other people, but just stay there, you know, just pray and just do the best job you can and try not to give up so easily, because a lot of people do give up faster than more, and you shouldn't. And then be able to voice your opinion too, and your advice.
And then I just want to add to that, you know, that we witness a lot, and the one thing that DEEP and the African American Employee Resource Group is doing is taking care of that tokenism, you know, where like we have a black gal in the office, let's send her to that meeting. And let's send, we have a black man too, let's send him to that meeting. And then I was like, you need to hire more. So that's what DEEP is actually taking on now, so that we don't have to send Angie and Kevin to every meeting.
And they literally, so I got to the point recently, like maybe 2 years ago, I told my boss, I'm done. I'm not gonna be that equity champion and be the equity president. We need these people to step up. So I'm gonna step back, which I started doing, because they always call me for this strategic business plan. They always call me for this. They always call me for that. That's why I'm an ambassador to Butterbur, because they want to send me out to, you're the only black, let's do that. Yeah, Andrew, you're good. Let's, you know, you go take care of that for us. So I've been stepping back more to allow them to start picking themselves up to actually have other people.
I have a question for you too. Sorry, glad to see you.
Anybody can answer this question, but I know that like money is a huge factor in going to college and then like earning it after in whatever profession you want to do. But like, to what extent should you consider like how much you're being paid versus like what you actually want to do? Because like some fields don't pay as much, and so it's just kind of tricky to balance out. Like I don't want to make everything about money, but like we all need money.
You want to be happy,
Right.
for one. Sometimes the job you might want might not pay as much as you want, but are you happy in that job? And then you have to balance that out about, you know, okay, now this is how much I'm making, this is what I'm gonna do. Versus, like for me, you know, the water bill, first I didn't think it was for me. But then again, I started making it for me after when they said, well, you can do this or you can do that. Like I said, they were sending me the things, so I said, okay, I took advantage of that. So you're gonna send me, I'm gonna go, you know. But you just have to make the job what it is, or make it what it is, and make sure you're happy. Because I've seen some people that worked and been directors or being, you know, programmed, you know, being higher up there, and they decided to leave that job just to do something they enjoy.
And I just have a quick answer too, is we say, we have these entry-level positions, so we have a lot of young people come in, and they're gonna be a professional snowboarder and a professional basketball player, and then we say, you have to do what you have to do what you want to do. So get the job that, you know, pays you the most, so that you can do right now, and then you can make your plans to do what you want to do. And kind of figure out, you know, how you're gonna save money to do this, or get a ride to the mountain and learn how to snowboard before you're gonna be a professional snowboarder. I've actually had to say that.
I think the main thing is to do what you like Angie was saying. That way, you know, you're doing what you like to do, you're gonna be happy at it, you're gonna be good at it, and you're gonna make good money at it. The main thing is you're gonna be happy in your employment. You know, I can tell you that an apprentice, someone that's college ready, 18 years old, go into our apprenticeship program, and over the first 5 years, not even work full time, and make 300 grand over the first 5 years of their employment. That's a lot of money, you know, but if you're not happy, it doesn't mean anything. I had a friend that was going to Lewis and Clark. He was in business administration. He was going to be an accountant as well. he got into a statistics course and found out that blue collar workers made more money than white collar workers over the first 10 years of their career. He dropped out of Lewis and Clark and got in our apprenticeship program. He became an electrician. Because he figured if he handled his money properly, that first 10 years was huge. And there's charts that they have that show that, if you save money on a regular basis, and if you started when you're 20 years old and save, or when you're 25 years old and save, where the other person doesn't start until they're 35 years old to start saving, and they can save way more money. The 35-year-old person can save a lot more money over that time, whereas the person that saved money from 25 to 35, they can stop saving at the same rate, and they'll have a lot more money at the end of the day, simply because of the interest that accumulates over that money going in so early. But that's just that's all a lot of happenstance and chance that you take. But to me, the main key is to be happy in what you do. Because if you're not happy, it doesn't matter how much money you make. You oftentimes will see, and probably the most recent that I can remember would be Dave Chappelle, and he was offered a lot of money to do something, but he wasn't happy at it to do something. Oh, how can he turn down that kind of money? Well, if he's not happy, that money doesn't mean anything. And so, people say, well, $100 million, you wouldn't do that? Well, you think you would, but if you're not happy, you find yourself a year later talking about, you know what, y'all can keep the rest of that money, I'm out of here. So do what makes you happy, what pleases you, what you're comfortable with. That's the most important thing.
So, small, and then have one in the back, and then you, and we'll probably have to wrap up after that. You. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, right, there you go.
All brothers look alike.
Haircut, beard.
That's cool. No, actually, I just want to, I think you summarized what I was going to say, to answer your question. Because what I noticed is that, by default, I think certain career fields, you're going to command certain income. By default, that's a given. But I also see on the other side of that, people are chasing money because of their life choices. Because as you said, you handle your business. So I think I was listening to Kobe when you said you stepped down from your position and making good money. But I was looking at the dates in between. I think you said you left that job and it was several months later you took on another job. And so I don't know all your business, but I'm thinking, okay, she must have been taking care of her business to go that long without that job. And so yeah, if you decide to live outside of your means, you're always going to try to make more money. When you might get stuck in a job that you don't like because you're still chasing that money. My first question was about mentorship. You guys offer mentorship because the frustrating part from where I sit, especially with our black community, when they come to work, they're very siloed. I got this, no one can tell me nothing, but you don't realize, what can I realize? You get a mentor, you're not just getting a mentor, you're getting all the resources, connections, the people that come with that mentor. So that's what I'm just wondering from you guys' experience, did you experience that in your organization offer mentorship for young people trying to start their own business, whatever it is they're trying to do?
Yeah, no, that's very true. And we often tell people you have to be in the program to take advantage of what's out there. So like, for example, during COVID, a lot of businesses closed. A lot of people really struggling to keep their doors open. And if you were already a client of ours, Multnomah County went through and paid off $1.5 million in people's loans. But you had to already be a client in this, in the pipeline, or they said, for your clients only, here's additional money. For your clients only, there's this. So it's not as if you're always active in the process, but you've gone through the training, you've learned these things, but you're in a network that makes things more accessible for you. And that's how I move forward. I mean, it's the network. It's who you know, where you know. It's being on boards, it's participating. Like Andrew said, go where they send you. If they're willing to pay for you to go, go. The people you'll meet there, the opportunities you have, the independence that you gain doing those things, you pull and draw from all that forever. I mean, I'm notorious for people saying something, me picking up my phone and me sending a text to somebody because I know somebody who can help us get to where we need to go. That's the network, So absolutely.
I'll just give you a brief story, from my experience. When Katrina hit in New Orleans, I had a friend of mine that lives here, his son was going to school. So he had to leave and go to Houston. And so, he was going to school in Houston, but then when things kind of got settled down, he came back to New Orleans, and he was told that he would be treated as an out-of-state student as far as his tuition went. And so, you know, I was, like I say, his dad's a friend of mine, and we talked, and I said, well, if he's interested in getting to the apprenticeship program, I said, I know someone down there that can get him in. And I contacted that person and got him in. He's a journeyman electrician now. And so, and if he chooses to go anywhere in the United States to work, he will make the highest wages that his occupation makes, and his benefits will follow him wherever he goes. So that's just because of the connection that I had, and I was able to take advantage of that so that he could, you know, get a good job and has that occupation. He's an electrician today, so he does well. That's a critical piece of it. But I want to go back to what you were talking about earlier about money and doing what you like versus making a lot of money. I love to play golf. I have a golf membership at Columbia Edgewater Golf Club, which is a pretty prestigious golf club in the city. And like I say, I play a lot of golf. I don't play as much as I did when I was employed, according to my friends. They said, well, you play more golf. They said, you doing all this stuff? Because I do a lot of volunteer stuff. But I'm passionate about what I do. And I don't get paid a penny for it. But I get paid more because I know that I've helped somebody. I've made a difference in somebody's life. I had a meeting this morning. I'm international president of the Electrical Workers Minority Caucus, which advocates for women and people of color to be in leadership positions in the union. That's in the United States and Canada, not just in the Northwest or the Portland area. I'm a trustee at my church. I'm the pro tem trustee at my church. And also on the board of Constructing Hope, which is a pre-apprenticeship program for folks that are low income or have been previously incarcerated, have legal history. That gives me a lot of pleasure being involved with that as well. I also sit on the TriMet board. I was appointed by the governor to do that. And none of those things I get paid for, but all those things that I'm passionate about because I'm able to make a difference. And I see things through a different lens than the traditional folks that are sit on those boards or in those places that make decisions. And so I'm able to have that influence. And I thank God for that because I've still got the good health and I've still got my mind to be able to do that. But also, I always think about Dr. Martin Luther King, and one of his quotes is that the measure of a man is not where he stands during times of comfort and convenience, but where he stands during times of conflict and controversy. I kind of flip that and say it's my responsibility to make people uncomfortable. Because nothing is going to change, no one's going to do anything unless you make them feel uncomfortable. My roof doesn't leak, I got food in the refrigerator, cable TV's on, I'm good. But if I got holes in my roof and the power gets turned off for some reason, or you know, my cable TV is not working, oh, we got a problem. There's going to be a change up in here. And so you have to work and be passionate about that. And that has to be in you. I'm not asking everybody to do something like that, but just like Ms. Lewis was saying earlier, she does it for her children. I've got children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. And I want them to have the same opportunities that I've had. I don't want them to have to fight the same battles that I've had to fight. That's not progress. And so that's why I do the volunteer stuff that I do. Like I say, my friends complain that, you know, you don't make any money doing this and you can't play golf because you're doing this. But that's what floats my boat. And I'm pleased with what I do. And I thank God that I have the energy and the capacity to be able to do those things.
So I think I have one more question.
Did she want to say something?
Oh,
Oh,
Keep it before me.
I wanted to ask, so before like, working in what you're working in now, what were your like, what did you want to do?
I wanted to be a doctor.
Doctor too.
Yeah.
I started pre-med.
I was gonna be a nun.
I can't go into that right now. I can't go into that right now.
We're gonna have to talk about that.
I also wanted to be an actress too, always. I wrote my own script, my own movie one time.
Hold on to it, Angie.
I'm gonna hold on to it, it's coming.
Oh, I had no idea.
I love you. I was just kind of floating in life and figure it out.
You heard it was a party school, huh?
Yeah.
Alright, in the back, then over here, and then unfortunately, we will have to close, so that we need to get them opportunity to work with them.
I do want to share something before we close that.
Okay, well,
I have to.
we gotta get some-
I want to go ahead first.
Okay.
No, everybody already said, like, when you start work, you have to do what you love. I'm a teacher, and everybody knows teachers don't get paid a whole lot of money. I've been doing it for 25 years, and it's the benefit of me teaching. I'm off all summers. I refuse to work anywhere else that you don't have off summers.
And we appreciate you, teacher.
Like, you know, yeah, I can go somewhere else. I can work full time, you know, year round. I just can't do it. So I continue teaching, and I love teaching. So yeah, it has to be something that you're passionate about, that you want to wake up and go to work every day for. Because if you don't, I mean, money, it's a lot, but it means a lot. You have to pay bills, but I love teaching. So that's what I want to say.
Super quick, I wanted to share an opportunity that's coming in. It's so appropriate for this panel and what we're discussing today. I work for the ILWU as a longshoreman, and there is an opportunity to get into the union. It's kind of similar to being an electrician, where you go through a journeyman type process. It's on your schedule, it's on your time. You write your own ticket. Once you get in, you write your own ticket. It's comparable to some of the numbers that are up on the board, healthcare, lifestyle. And I'm taking it upon myself because I want to see us in my union. They have kept us out for many, many years, especially in Portland, and some of us are in, and I'd really like to leave my contact number, my email up there. This opportunity will happen in a month to 6 months, but I'm compiling a list, and reach out to me. I'll help you through the process if you get picked. I've done it before, and I just wanted to share that with the group. And this is open from 8, you can be 8, everybody in this room can do this. You can be 18 to 50.
Oh.
So if you have an older brother or you have an older sister, they're looking for something, this is a good opportunity. And I'll be sending out the links as soon as they do it. They do it for 5 days, Monday through Friday, and they close it. They don't tell people when it is.
Oh.
And the reason is, yeah, the reason is, you know, they want to keep us out, and a lot of us brothers that are in or not are changing that culture. So I'll definitely leave my contact information off the pond on the list right now.
Can you also email it to Paul so he can send it out to everybody?
Yeah.
Information? Yeah.
Did we get everybody? I think so. I'm sorry, I went way over time, but this was too good, I'm sorry. So with that, I will give you like 30 seconds to close the remarks.
It's gonna be a little more than 30 seconds, but I do.
Okay, 35.
The organization that I'm over, the Electrical Workers Minority Caucus, has a conference each year. And we had virtual conferences over the 21 and 22. This year we had a fiscal conference again in Denver, Colorado. I try to be as observant as possible, and I notice certainly about mental health issues. And too often, mental health issues have a stigma attached to it. I don't wanna be labeled as crazy, or I don't wanna be labeled as something's wrong with me. But we have too many, folks in this country, especially, that are being impacted by mental health issues because we don't talk about it, and we don't, there's a stigma attached to it where we're afraid to share. And that's why we have people that are taking their own lives or doing harm to themselves and others because their issues aren't being addressed and they're not comfortable sharing them. If I had a bone sticking out of my leg, a compound fracture, and I was walking around, looked at and said, Mr. Edwards, you got a bone sticking out. Oh, I'm good. It's fine. I'm gonna be okay. You're like, something's wrong with him. But we walk around with mental health issues all day long, every day, and we don't get them addressed and we don't get them taken care of so that we can be healthy. At our conference, I don't know, some of you probably know Dr. Keith Dempsey. He's out of George Fox. And he spoke at our virtual conference last year. I asked him to speak, and he spoke and it was a keynote, and everyone wanted him back. And I was glad because this year we had him back, and he was the keynote on Saturday. And we did a plenary workshop. A plenary workshop is when you don't break off into smaller workshops. Everyone is involved in that workshop. We had about 600 attendees from all over the country and Canada that attended our conference. Dr. Dempsey, we gave him 1 hour to do his plenary workshop on Saturday morning. And it was getting close to 10 o'clock, and he said, we're going to have to cut this off because we run 2 workshops. We have 9 workshops that we're doing. We run a 2-hour workshop in the morning, a 2-hour workshop in the afternoon, so there's 9 different workshops. I went up and spoke to Dr. Dempsey, and I said, take as long as you need. Because in that room, we had 2 microphones on either side of that auditorium, and they were 10 deep. His workshop went from 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock. And we still had some folks that were upset because we were cutting it off so folks would go to lunch. I share that with you because we have mental health issues in this country that we do not deal with. People were getting up and saying, one guy got up and said, hey, I'm a white male and I'm gay, but I feel safe and secure in coming out here and sharing this with you. We had another brother that got up, and he's a very muscular brother, and he got up and said that I got 2,000 people that come to me on the regular talking about their issues, and my family comes at me with their issues. I don't have any time to deal with my issues. So I share that with you to say, speak and talk to somebody. Talk to somebody that you're comfortable with. Share what's going on with you. Don't hold it in. Do not do anything that's going to damage or hurt yourself. Do not have a stigma about it because everybody in this room has mental health issues. They just haven't shared it with you. So don't feel like you're the Lone Ranger because you have things that are going on in your life that you're not comfortable sharing. Please share, and let someone that you love and care about know that you have issues that you need to deal with, that you're struggling with, and be able to handle those issues and talk to them and be comfortable about that, please.
Oh, did you? Oh. Okay, very good. I don't really know what to say to close, but if I can be helpful to any of you all, if you're interested in entrepreneurship or owning your own business or starting your own business, whatever, I can be a resource. Like I said, I'll give my contact information. Feel free to reach out. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I think, thank you for taking your time today. I think this is really important, and thank you for mentioning the mental health piece. One thing we do know about your generation, there is no shame in your game, and you're absolutely present and moving forward in a lot of areas, and don't be afraid to take on your own mental health the same as you would your health. And that's another good reason, another plug for a city job, or these public sector jobs. Be a hero in your city, you get good health benefits. My contact information will be out.
Just know you guys have people around around you that cares for you and willing to help you. And networking is the key. Just, talking. And if you don't want to talk to your parents, talk to somebody else, We're here to listen and we're here for you guys. So just always remember that. And I'll be talking to you guys later about getting the if I need volunteers.
And the response back is them talking to you, because they need that scholarship money.
There you go. And that is true. That scholarship is coming up. We gave 22 scholarships last year, $2,000. So just remember, come and see me.
And
I just wanna say, go out there and be your best you can be and be a prosperous human being in this society.
Amen.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. We really appreciate it. This was amazing. And again, I apologize. Now half an hour over, but what we'll do is we're going to break up into our groups for working on your presentations, and then we'll come back to do announcements and close up. And I want to give you time with your mentors to work on your presentation. I'll have up here the beautiful. I'll leave this up here so that you guys can take a picture of it. You may not be able to do your thank you cards in class today just because we're working on the presentation. But take a picture of their contact information so that you can do your thank you cards.
And we have extra thank you cards, so raise your hand if you need more, because we're going to need at least 5 for this one.
And so, Ms. Andy, is our panel going to be able to go to lunch? While they work on it?
It's not here yet, it's about to be here, but before they go,
Oh, okay. Sorry. She's actually in charge.
Could we get a picture of this real quick?
I got a whole video, but yes.
Can you guys see that okay, you guys, or we need to be out of your way? I'm sorry. Oh, okay.
We want to say thank you guys for coming and speaking to the kids. We know we can't pay you, but we appreciate your time. So this is a small token of our appreciation. Even though your sizes, hopefully I have them.
You all know that how we get paid is your success.
Yeah.
That's how we get paid.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, and we have a gift for you too. Oh, we do. Everybody get a water bottle. You could, I know you are, I forgot. I know you already did
Are you good? You probably have to.
Oh, I'm sorry. Carol.
Yes.
Large or extra large?
All right, oh, keep on.
Oh, okay.
There you go. You're welcome.
Did everybody get a picture?
Clear or
of the contact information for thank you cards? Pictures, references, and thank you cards. Can you thumbs up? I don't see everybody's thumbs up.
Who's your dad?
Good. So then we'll go ahead and break for now so that you guys can talk to your mentors. If your mentor is not here.
You're welcome.
I do have a couple that are up.
Hey, how are you? I'm good.
Did we get everybody?
All right, everybody, we need to go ahead and close out and head to lunch. So, can I get your eyes real quick? Real quick. A few announcements before we get out of here. Don't forget, After this session, we only have 2 more sessions left. So session 12 on March 4th, and the following Saturday, March 11th, is graduation day. Yay! Y'all not ready to be done with me? So I think that would be the motivation.
Presenting on session 12.
I'm sorry?
They're all presenting on session 12.
They are practicing presenting on session 12, and then they are presenting their final presentation on session 13. Yeah. So we'll have one of these auditoriums where you'll be able to actually practice your presentation and go through it real quick. So I will send out an email that has a Google Drive where you can drop a copy of your presentation in there, so that we can have them all and be ready to queue them up. I'm also going to send out a link for you guys to be able to sign up for your position when you present. Thought about doing alphabetical, but it's like, another big position. There we are. So, oh, you want to do alphabetical?
No, I was just thinking that when they get up and practice, whatever order they got them in, would be the order in which.
Oh, really? Oh, you
Right,
want?
you know.
Oh.
Depending on what you never pick, yeah, first.
But no, they can pick their order, it's fine.
We'll talk.
We'll talk.
Alright. Also, real quick, does anybody have issue with being here on the 11th besides the person that I've already talked to?
You have a job and are employed and your schedule has not come out yet. You need to remember, March 11th, you cannot work at that time.
Everybody understand that?
March 11th.
And tell them what time that's going to take place on the 11th?
It's going to be from about 10 to 1.
Okay.
Or 9:45 to 1.
Same time.
Yeah.
I was scheduled about with 3 though,
Yeah, because usually after we have food and everything, so the actual graduation ceremony will be till about 1. But after the graduation ceremony, we'll be eating real good. So does anybody have issues with March 11th? Please let me know as soon as possible. Okay? All right. Mentor communications. Don't forget 2 times a week. There is an HBCU tour meeting directly after this session at 1 o'clock. So there's the information. You need to make sure that you have your photo ID that is state issued. So either a general state ID or a driver's license or what do you call them?
Permit.
Permit, yeah, permit. Oh, passports work too. Something with a picture on it. Okay? You also need to have your unofficial transcripts. You need to have 10 of those. Resume, 10 copies of those. And your final payment for the HBCU tour is March 10th. Okay?
And Ms. Debbie will be sending out text reminders of what your final payment amount is.
Yep. So your balance and your invoice will come out. Assignment for your next session is work on your presentation. Work on it, get it done, show it to your mentor, and then after that, practice. Yes, we're talking about practice. Okay? Not the game, we're talking about practice. Okay? Not your presentation, we're talking about practice. Make sure you practice. Anybody have any questions about practice?
What we practicing?
We is practicing your presentation. Practice it well, okay? All right, also, don't forget, in a couple of weeks after we're done, they are still having the Black Student Success Summit. We'll have a college fair, a career fair, they'll have speakers and presentations, and you do have to register in order to attend. So make sure that you get that QR code so that you can sign up to register. Sorry, I'm going through this real quick. Bridge B2S scholarship law. Does anybody add anything?
Those are not in our kids.
Nah, well, that's because ain't nobody in here.
Oh, nobody put anything up there? No. I was gonna say, I thought.
She said something.
Did you get a scholarship?
No. Okay, so this is the scholarship law, right? So that you can track scholarships that you find and track the due dates and that sort of thing.
Oh.
The 3A list is coming up.
So that image is like from last year, it's not the actual,
Yeah, because otherwise it'd be blank.
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering. No, put a blank thing up there. That's not impressive. But yeah, that's the scholarship law. And you do get points for that. If you put scholarships that you're applying to or that you found, just put them up there, you get points for that.
Hang on.
I'm just giving you a hard time. All right, and then, yes, we do have people that signed up for the 3A list. And so, I read this. Wow, there's too many of them. Okay, so I got Vashawn, Charlize, Bryson, Dre, got a couple of them, and Jihad, and Kaya actually puts them up there as well. So we got a lot of acceptances.
Oh, nice.
Yay! Y'all are balling out of control. NCA&T, North Carolina Central. Oh, I forgot Rashawn's certificate of recognition. Portland State, Hampton University, Norfolk State, George Fox, University of Oregon, University of Portland, Georgia State, Oregon State, University of Nevada, Las Vegas, Xavier, and then I got Howard University. I don't see Bell State though.
I don't see your colors again.
Just saying. Their mentor went there too, right? I'm just put that out there. Just put them in the. Just saying. Nobody wants to go to Delaware. Delaware is a really nice state. Just like how.
What is in Delaware?
Huh? Delaware, Wilmington, tax-free shopping, beach that you can actually go into without a wetsuit. I'm serious.
It's warm.
The water is legit warm. I like this Pacific Ocean thing y'all got going on here. Like I said, just putting it out. All right. We also got Student of the Year award. Really? Bryson, Student of the Year? Awesome, dude. And then Dre got accepted to Clark Atlanta, U of O, Jackson State, University of Oregon, Grambling, Mississippi State, and UNLV. And then GPA going up to a 3.3 and getting all A's junior year and first semester of senior year, all A's from Jefferson High School. Oh, and he does this other little thing on the side called playing football. Like he does the student thing mostly, and then he just plays a little football. And so for that, he got the City Offensive Player of the Year. Jihad got accepted to Clark Atlanta University, the University of Arizona, and he started a clothing brand. Exactly. Let's bring a QR code. Let people know where you shop. All right. And then Kaya also got accepted to Portland State University, Hawaii Pacific, and Nova Southern University. Where she got Bean Scholarship. Cool. And we did yours already, right, Colin? Yes. And Lucas and Titus and Bryson. Those are okay. Well, these are all the newer ones, but I'm not dropping them off the list because y'all still working. All right. So excellent job. Excellent job. And don't forget, you get points for putting your stuff up there, and we get the class for you. That's more important than getting the top. All right, don't forget to do your homework stuff.
We'll send it out in the email. Because I have questions about points for the,
for the questions and everything? Oh, yeah, that's good. Okay. Remember that. Okay. And, yeah, so scholarship log, QR code, presentation template, just in case you still need it, but you should have already utilized the presentation. Okay, just saying, something out there. And then the 3A form QR code. And any questions, comments, remarks?
Something to say real quick, so,
Bad jokes?
I'm still doing SAT stuff with anybody who's willing. I did an online Google Meet with Malia and Daniel about a week ago. I plan on doing a few more of those because they're taking the tests end of March. So you'll get emails from when the next one of those will be. It's probably gonna be like a Thursday evenings. And I'm also available to stay here after lunch or during lunch, like grab a sandwich, do your steps. I can stay 30, 45 minutes if anybody wants to do a quick writing passage and answers for like 30, 45 minutes. I can do that today. If not, sign up for one of the Google Meets that I set up.
Is anybody else taking that SAT or anything?
Anybody doing it this spring? Yeah,
Anybody else testing anything?
You got to doing it in March or? Huh?
You do?
Yeah, I'll probably do it later. I'll probably do it later.
So you got those three, Brian. Alright. Yeah, there you go. Carol, did you pass around your sign-up list that you wanted them to sign up?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Uh-oh.
But I can do it the next time we come together, cause I'm here every Saturday.
Okay.
And that's everybody here.
I can just give you their emails. And
There you go. That would be great. Yeah, thank you, Paul.
Yeah. Alright, they signed up for the program, so they get all the emails we send out. Alright, so if there are no other questions, no other comments, no other dad jokes, then I will let you go chat with Ms. Angie. And go to lunch. Thank you guys. Great session.
Pizza for lunch today.
What?